She was just a delivery girl, soaking wet and broke, counting tips to pay for her brother's surgery, until one wrong address changed everything. The moment she stepped through those iron gates, she walked into a world of power, secrets, and a feared Yakuza boss who hadn't smiled in 2 years. His daughter hadn't spoken a single word since her mother died, but when Hana knelt beside that fragile little girl and began to hum, something impossible happened. Now a ruthless enemy wants to use her as leverage. A kidnapping will leave her bleeding on a warehouse floor, and the most dangerous man in the city will have to choose between his empire and the woman who made his heart beat again. What started as a delivery became a love story written in shadows and sacrifice, but not everyone will survive what comes next. Subscribe now and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from, because this story is about to pull you in and never let go. Rain hammered the city streets like it had something to prove. Hana Mori gripped her bicycle handlebars and pedaled harder. Water streamed down her face. Her delivery bag, strapped across her back, felt heavier with every block. Inside were 3 orders of ramen, growing colder by the minute. She didn't care about the rain. She cared about the tips. Her phone buzzed against her thigh. Another ping, another order. She ignored it for now and focused on the slick road ahead. The tires slipped once, twice. She steadied herself and kept moving. This was her life, pedaling through storms, racing against time, counting every dollar. Her younger brother, Yuto, needed surgery in 3 months. The hospital wouldn't wait forever. Neither would the bills piling up on their kitchen table. Hana delivered the first order to a tired-looking mother in an apartment complex. The woman gave her a $5 tip and a grateful smile. Hana bowed her head and ran back into the rain. The second order went to an office building, where a security guard met her at the door. No tip, just a nod. The third delivery was to a college student who complained the food was cold. Hana apologized. He shut the door without leaving anything extra. She climbed back onto her bicycle. Her muscles ached, her clothes stuck to her skin, but she kept going. That was what she did. She kept going. By 11:30, Hana finally parked her bike outside her apartment building. She was about to go inside when her phone buzzed again. One more delivery. High-paying. The address was far across the city. The tip alone would cover 3 days of groceries. Hana stared at the screen. Her body screamed for rest. Her mind screamed for money. Money won. She climbed back onto her bicycle and rode into the storm once more. The navigation app led her down roads she didn't recognize. The streetlights grew farther apart. The buildings turned into trees. The rain didn't let up. Hana checked her phone 3 times. The address seemed right, but nothing around her looked like a normal delivery location. Then she saw the gates. Tall iron gates rose up from the darkness. Behind them, a massive estate sat like a shadow given form. No lights shone in the windows. No cars lined the driveway. Hana stopped her bicycle and stared. This couldn't be right. She checked her phone again. The pin dropped exactly here. Before she could turn around, headlights flooded the road behind her. A black car rolled up, slow and silent. 2 men stepped out. Both wore dark suits. Both had hard eyes. "You're the delivery?" one asked. Hana's heart pounded. She nodded. The man studied her face. Then he looked at the bag on her back. Something passed between him and his partner. A wordless conversation. "Come inside," he said. "I can just leave the food here." Inside. Hana swallowed hard. Every instinct told her to run. But the gates were already opening. The men were already walking, and somewhere deep in her gut she felt that running would be worse. She followed them through the gates. The estate was even larger up close. Stone walls stretched high. Gardens lined the path, dark and dripping with rain. The front doors were carved with patterns Hana didn't recognize. One of the men opened the door. Warm light spilled out. Hana stepped inside. The silence hit her first, then the smell of incense. Then the strange emptiness of a home too big for its people. A woman appeared, older, gray-haired, wearing a simple apron. Her face was tight with worry. "The food," the woman said quickly. "Bring it upstairs." "Upstairs? Now, please." Hana didn't argue. She followed the woman up a winding staircase. The walls were lined with paintings. The floors were polished wood. Everything felt cold despite the warmth. Then she heard it, coughing, weak and rattling, coming from a room at the end of the hall. The older woman rushed ahead and pushed open a door. Hana followed without thinking. Inside, A small girl lay in a bed too large for her. She couldn't have been older than 7. Her skin was pale. Her eyes were closed. Machines beeped softly beside her, but they didn't seem to be helping. The girl coughed again. Her thin body shook. Hannah's chest tightened. She had seen sickness before. She had watched her brother suffer through fevers and pain. But this was different. This child looked like she was fading. "Set the food down," the older woman whispered. Hannah placed the bag on a table, but she didn't leave. The girl opened her eyes. They were dark and glassy. She looked at Hannah without expression. Something in those eyes broke Hannah's heart. She moved without permission. She knelt beside the bed, unzipped her bag, and pulled out a thermos she always kept for herself. Hot tea, simple and plain. "Here," Hannah whispered. She held the thermos gently. "This will warm you up." The girl didn't move, didn't speak. Hannah poured a small amount into the cap. She held it close to the girl's lips. "Just a little," Hannah said softly. "It's okay." The girl took a sip, then another. Hannah began to hum, a lullaby her mother used to sing. The notes came back to her like old friends. She didn't know why she did it. She just knew this child needed something medicine couldn't give. The girl's breathing slowed. Her eyes closed again, not in pain this time, but in rest. Her small hand reached out and gripped Hannah's sleeve. She didn't let go. From the shadows of the doorway, a man watched. Ryuichi Kurogane stood perfectly still. His dark eyes moved between his daughter and the stranger kneeling beside her bed. His hands were clenched at his sides. Aiko hadn't calmed like this in months. Not for doctors, not for nurses, not even for him, but for this woman, this soaking wet delivery girl. She held on. Ryuichi's jaw tightened. He stepped back into the hall and spoke quietly to Kenji, his most trusted man. "Keep her here. Don't harm her." Kenji raised an eyebrow. "Sir? She doesn't leave." "Not yet." Ryuichi walked away before Kenji could ask more. Hannah didn't understand what happened next. When she finally stood to leave, 2 men blocked the door. "You can't go yet," one said. "What do you mean?" "I delivered the food. I'm done. The boss wants you to stay." "I don't work for any boss." The men didn't move. Hannah's fear returned, sharper now. She looked back at the little girl asleep in the bed, at the older woman watching with worried eyes. She had walked into something she didn't understand, and now she couldn't walk out. An hour passed, then 2. No one told Hannah anything, no one explained. She sat in a chair near the window, watching the rain streak down the glass. Her phone had no signal. The walls felt thicker now. Finally, the man from the shadows appeared. Ryuichi Kurogane stood in the doorway. He was tall and broad-shouldered. His face was carved from stone, handsome but hard. His eyes held no warmth. "You calmed her," he said. Hannah stood. "I just gave her tea. She hasn't slept in weeks." "Not like that." Hannah didn't know what to say. Ryuichi studied her for a long moment. Then he nodded once. "You can go." Hannah didn't hesitate. She grabbed her bag and moved toward the door. "But know this," Ryuichi added quietly. "I'll be watching." Hannah stopped. Her blood ran cold. She turned to look at him. His expression hadn't changed, but something in his voice carried weight, a promise, a warning. She left without another word. The ride home was the longest of Hannah's life. She felt eyes everywhere, in every passing car, every dark window, every shadow on the street. Twice she looked over her shoulder. Twice she saw nothing, but she felt it. When she finally reached her apartment, she burst through the door, dripping wet and out of breath. Yuta was asleep on the couch, safe, peaceful. Hannah sank to her knees beside him and let out a shaky breath. But something was wrong. The apartment looked different. The front lock had been replaced. The window near the fire escape had new bars. Hannah walked to the window and looked down at the street. 2 men stood on the corner. Dark suits, hard eyes. They weren't hiding. They were watching. Fear turned into something hotter in Hannah's chest, something she hadn't felt in a long time. Anger. 3 days passed. Hannah tried to forget the estate, the little girl, the man with cold eyes. She threw herself into work, pedaling faster, taking more orders, counting more tips. But forgetting was impossible. The men on the corner never left. They rotated in shifts, 2 during the day, 2 at night. They didn't approach. They didn't speak. They just watched. Yuto noticed them too. "Who are those guys?" he asked one morning, peering through the window blinds. Hannah pulled him away. "Nobody, just ignore them. They've been there since Tuesday." I said ignore them. Yuto looked at her with worried eyes. He was only 16, but sickness had made him wise beyond his years. He knew when his sister was scared. Hana hated that he could see it. On the fourth day, everything changed. Hana was finishing a delivery in the warehouse district when she noticed a different car following her. Not black and polished like the others. This one was grey and dented. The windows were tinted dark. She pedaled faster. The car kept pace. Her heart raced. She turned down an alley. Dead end. The car stopped at the entrance. A door opened. Hana gripped her handlebars, ready to fight, ready to scream. A black SUV appeared from nowhere. It blocked the grey car completely. Men in suits stepped out. Words were exchanged, harsh and low. The grey car reversed and sped away. One of the suited men turned to Hana. She recognized him from the estate. Kenji, the one Ryuichi had spoken to that night. "You're safe," he said simply. "Who was that? Who was in that car?" Kenji didn't answer. He just nodded once and climbed back into the SUV. Hana stood alone in the alley, shaking. Protection had already begun. She just hadn't asked for it. That night, Hana's phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her press the green button. "Miss Mori." The voice was deep, familiar, cold. "Ryuichi, how did you get this number?" "That doesn't matter. What matters is my daughter." Hana's stomach tightened. "What about her?" A pause. Then, quieter, she spoke. "What?" "She hasn't spoken since her mother died. 2 years of silence. But yesterday, she said a word." Hana waited. "Your name." She said your name. The words hung in the air. Hana didn't know what to feel. Joy? Fear? Both tangled together in her chest. "She wants to see you," Ryuichi continued. "I'm asking, not ordering. Will you come?" Hana closed her eyes. She thought of the little girl's hand gripping her sleeve, the fragile warmth of that moment. "I'll come," she said. The gates opened as Hana approached on her bicycle. This time, no one stopped her. No guards blocked her path. The front doors stood open, warm light spilling into the evening air. Mrs. Tanaka, the older woman from before, waited on the steps. Her face was softer now, almost hopeful. "Thank you for coming," she said. Hana nodded and followed her inside. The estate felt different tonight. Less cold, less empty. Hana couldn't explain why. They climbed the stairs and walked down the long hallway. The door to Aiko's room was already open. The little girl sat up in bed. Her color was better. Her eyes were brighter. When she saw Hana, something shifted in her expression. Not quite a smile, but close. "Hi," Hana said softly. She sat on the edge of the bed. "I heard you asked for me." Aiko nodded slowly. "Can you say my name again?" Aiko's lips parted. Her voice came out like a whisper. "Na." Tears pricked Hana's eyes. She didn't wipe them away. "That's right," she said. "I'm Hana." Ryuichi watched from the doorway. He stayed back, silent as always, but his eyes never left the scene before him. His daughter was speaking. After 2 years of silence, she was speaking. He remembered the day Aiko stopped, the day they buried her mother, the day his little girl shut herself away from the world. Doctors said it was trauma, grief too heavy for a child to carry. They gave medicines, therapies, treatments. Nothing worked. But this woman, this stranger, had done what money couldn't buy. Ryuichi didn't understand it. He didn't trust it. But he needed it. Later that evening, Hana sat with Mrs. Tanaka in the kitchen. The older woman poured tea and set a plate of cookies between them. "Aiko was different before," Mrs. Tanaka said quietly, full of laughter, always running through the halls. "What happened to her mother?" Mrs. Tanaka's hands stilled. "Cancer." It took her slowly. Aiko watched her fade. She was only 5. Hana's chest ached. She knew that pain. She had watched her own mother slip away when she was young. The helplessness, the silence afterward. And Mr. Korogane? He buried his heart with his wife. Mrs. Tanaka looked toward the window. "He believes love only brings loss. He's been empty ever since." Hana didn't respond, but she understood. Ryuichi found her in the hallway as she was leaving. "You're going?" he asked. "I have to get home. My brother..." "Your brother is safe. My men are watching." Hana stopped. "I didn't ask for that." "No, but you need it." "I need my freedom." Ryuichi's jaw tightened. "Freedom won't protect you from the people who noticed you that night." "What people?" He didn't answer. Hana stepped closer. "Tell me what's going on. I deserve to know." For a long moment, Ryuichi said nothing. Then he spoke, his voice low. There are men who want to hurt me. They'll use anyone close to me to do it. You walked into my home. You touched my daughter. That put you in their sight. So this is your fault. Yes. The honesty surprised her. She expected excuses, defenses, not admission. I won't apologize for protecting you, Ryuichi continued. But I won't force you to stay either. The choice is yours. Hana stared at him. His face was still hard, still cold, but something flickered beneath the surface, something almost human. I'll come back, she said finally. For Aiko, not for you. Ryuichi nodded once. That's enough. The visits became routine. 3 times a week, Hana came to the estate after her delivery shifts. She read to Aiko, sang to her, taught her simple games with paper and string. The little girl bloomed. Her voice returned slowly, first single words, then short sentences. She laughed more. She ate better. She slept through the night. Mrs. Tanaka cried the first time she heard Aiko giggle. Hana felt it too, that warmth of healing. It reminded her why she kept fighting, why she worked so hard for Yuto. Love was worth the struggle, but with the healing came something else. Awareness. Hana began to notice things about the estate. The way the men moved with silent discipline, the locked doors she was never allowed near, the phone calls Ryuichi took in private, his voice sharp and commanding. She saw the weight he carried, the loneliness he tried to hide. One evening, she found him alone in the garden. He sat on a stone bench, staring at the night sky. His shoulders were heavy. His face was tired. Hana hesitated. Then she sat beside him. Aiko asked about you today, she said. Ryuichi didn't look at her. What did she ask? She asked why you don't smile. Something crossed his face. Pain, maybe, or regret. I used to, he said quietly, when her mother was alive. What was she like? Kind, gentle, too good for someone like me. He paused. I thought loving her would protect her. I was wrong. Hana felt the grief in his words. It was old and deep, like a wound that never healed. Loving someone isn't a promise that nothing bad will happen, she said. It's a promise that they won't face it alone. Ryuichi finally looked at her. His dark eyes held something new. Not coldness, not walls. Curiosity. You believe that? I have to? Otherwise, what's the point? He didn't respond, but he didn't look away either. For a long moment, they sat together in silence. The stars flickered above. The garden smelled of rain and jasmine. Hana felt something shift between them, something she couldn't name. She stood to leave. As she walked away, Ryuichi spoke. Hana, she turned. Thank you, he said, for not giving up on her. Hana nodded. I won't. I promise. She walked back into the house, heart beating faster than it should, but danger was closer than she knew. Across the city, in a smoke-filled room, a man studied a photograph. Hana's face stared back at him. Shiro Kanzaki smiled slowly. He had found Ryuichi's weakness. Now he just needed to take it. The warning came at midnight. Hana woke to the sound of breaking glass. She bolted upright in bed, heart pounding. Yuto was already at her door, eyes wide with fear. Stay here, she whispered. She crept toward the living room. Shattered glass covered the floor near the window. A brick lay in the middle of the mess. Wrapped around it was a piece of paper. Hana's hands trembled as she unfolded the note. 3 words, simple and clear. You're not safe. She didn't sleep for the rest of the night. By morning, Ryuichi knew. Hana didn't have to tell him. When she arrived at the estate for her regular visit, Kenji was already waiting at the gates. His face was grim. Pack your things, he said. You and your brother. You're moving here. What? No, I can't just... This isn't a suggestion. Hana's anger flared. I don't take orders from you or from him. Then take them from common sense. Kenji's voice softened slightly. The men who threw that brick aren't playing games. They'll come back. And next time it won't be a warning. Hana wanted to argue. She wanted to scream that this wasn't her fight, that she never asked for any of this. But then she thought of Yuto, his pale face, his fragile body, the surgery he still needed. If something happened to him because of her, she couldn't live with that. Fine, she said quietly. But this is temporary. Kenji nodded. Of course. Moving into the estate felt like stepping into another world. The room they gave Hana was larger than her entire apartment. Soft carpet, clean sheets, a window overlooking the garden. Yuto got a room next door, complete with a television and a stack of books. He thought it was amazing. Hana thought it was a cage. But cages, she learned, could also be safe. The first night she barely slept. Every sound made her jump. Every shadow made her tense. She kept waiting for something terrible to happen. Nothing did. The second night was easier. The third, easier still. By the end of the week, Hana realized something surprising. She felt safe. Not trapped, not controlled, just safe. Aiko was overjoyed. The little girl bounced on her bed when she heard Hana was staying. She grabbed Hana's hand and pulled her through the house, showing her every room, every corner, every hiding spot. "This is where I play," Aiko said, pointing to a sunny alcove. "And this is where the birds come in the morning. And this," she tugged Hana toward the kitchen, "is where Mrs. Tanaka makes pancakes." Hana laughed. It was a sound she hadn't heard from herself in months. Watching Aiko bloom was like watching a flower open after a long winter. The girl talked more each day. She smiled more. She even started humming. The same lullaby Hana had sung that first night. It filled Hana with warmth she couldn't explain. But with closeness came complications. Living under the same roof as Ryuichi meant seeing him every day. At breakfast, in the hallways, across the dinner table. He was different here, quieter, less guarded. Hana noticed small things. The way he always served Aiko's food first. The way he paused outside her room each night, listening for her breathing. The way his eyes softened when he watched her play. He was not the monster the world believed him to be. He was a father, broken and lost, trying his best. One evening Hana found him in the library. He sat alone, surrounded by books he wasn't reading. His hands rested on his knees. His gaze was distant. "You should join us for dinner," Hana said from the doorway. Ryuichi looked up. "I don't want to intrude. It's your house. It's your family now. You and Aiko." He paused. "I don't fit." Hana stepped closer. "That's not true, isn't it?" His voice was low, heavy. "I've spent years building walls. I don't know how to take them down. You start with one brick at a time." He met her eyes. Something passed between them, a current, a question. Hana's heart beat faster. She didn't understand these feelings, didn't know what to do with them. "Dinner's in 10 minutes, she said, turning away. "Don't be late." She left before he could respond. Days turned into weeks. A rhythm formed. Mornings were for Aiko. Breakfast, lessons, walks in the garden. Afternoons, Hana worked remotely, coordinating deliveries by phone while Kenji's men handled the dangerous routes. Evenings were for family. Family. The word surprised Hana the first time she thought it. But it fit. Yuto grew stronger. The estate doctor visited regularly, monitoring his condition, adjusting his medications. He had color in his cheeks again. He laughed more. One night, he pulled Hana aside. "I like it here," he said quietly. "It's temporary." "Is it?" Hana didn't have an answer. Ryuichi began joining them for dinner. At first, he was stiff and silent, but Aiko's chatter slowly drew him out. She asked him questions about his favorite food, his favorite color, whether he liked puppies or kittens. "Puppies," he said one evening, with something almost like a smile. Aiko beamed. "Me too!" Hana caught his eye across the table. He looked away quickly, but she saw it. The crack in his armor, the man beneath the mask. She was starting to care for him, really care. And that terrified her. The peace shattered on a Tuesday afternoon. Hana took Aiko to a nearby park. Kenji's men followed at a distance. The sun was bright, the air was fresh. Aiko ran ahead, chasing butterflies. Hana smiled and sat on a bench. She didn't see the gray van until it was too late. It pulled up fast. Doors flew open. 2 men jumped out. One grabbed Aiko. She screamed. Hana launched herself at them. She clawed, kicked, bit. A fist connected with her jaw. Pain exploded through her skull, but she didn't stop. She held onto Aiko with everything she had. The men tried to pry them apart. Hana wouldn't let go. "Get away from her!" she screamed. Gunshots rang out. Kenji's men were running. The attackers cursed and shoved Hana to the ground. One grabbed her arm, dragging her toward the van. Aiko screamed her name. "Hana! Hana!" Then everything went dark. Ryuichi received the call in his office. Kenji's voice was steady, but Ryuichi heard the fear beneath. They took them, both of them. The world stopped. Ryuichi didn't remember standing, didn't remember crossing the room, didn't remember grabbing Kenji by the collar. "Find them," he said. His voice was ice. Now. We're tracking the van. Kanzaki's warehouse district. 20 minutes. 15. The rescue was swift and brutal. Ryuichi didn't lead from behind. He led from the front. His men followed in silence. The warehouse was guarded. Not well enough. Ryuichi moved through the opposition like a storm. He didn't hesitate. Didn't negotiate. Kanzaki's men fell one by one. Inside, he found them. Hana was tied to a chair, bruised, but awake. Aiko was in a corner, trembling, clutching her knees. Ryuichi crossed the room in 3 strides. He cut Hana's bindings first, then lifted Aiko into his arms. "Papa," she whispered. The first time she'd called him that in 2 years. He held her tight. His body shook. Not from anger, from fear. The ride home was silent. Aiko slept in Ryuichi's arms. Hana sat beside them, staring out the window. Her jaw was swollen. Her wrists were raw. She didn't cry. Not yet. At the estate, Mrs. Tanaka took Aiko to bed. Yuto rushed to Hana, hugging her tight. "I'm okay," she told him. "I promise, I'm okay." But she wasn't. Not really. Later that night, Hana found Ryuichi in the garden. He sat on the same stone bench. His hands were clasped, his head was bowed. She had never seen him so broken. "Ryuichi." He didn't look up. "I almost lost you." "But you didn't. I almost lost both of you." His voice cracked. Again. Hana sat beside him, close enough to feel his warmth, close enough to see the tears he was trying to hide. "When my wife died," he said quietly, "I swore I would never care again. Caring meant losing. Loving meant suffering." He finally looked at her. "But then, you came, and Aiko started healing, and He stopped, took a breath. I felt hope again. For the first time in years, Hana's heart ached. "That's not weakness. It feels like it." "It's not." She reached out and took his hand. His fingers were cold. She held them anyway. "Hope is what keeps us fighting. Love is what makes the fight worth it." Ryuichi stared at their joined hands. Then he looked at her. Really looked at her. "I'm scared," he admitted. "I don't know how to do this." "Neither do I." Hana squeezed his hand. "But we can figure it out together." For a long moment, neither of them moved. Then Ryuichi did something he hadn't done in years. He let himself lean on someone else. His forehead touched hers. His breath was warm. His walls came down, one brick at a time. "Thank you," he whispered, "for not giving up on us." Hana closed her eyes. "I never will." The days after the kidnapping were quiet. Too quiet. Hana healed slowly. The bruises on her face faded from purple to yellow. Her wrists stopped aching. But something deeper had shifted inside her. She had almost died. Aiko had almost been taken. The danger was real now, not an abstract threat, but a memory burned into her skin. And yet, she didn't want to leave. That surprised her most of all. Ryuichi barely slept. Kenji reported that Kanzaki had fled the city. His operation was destroyed. His men were scattered. The threat was over, for now. But Ryuichi couldn't rest. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the warehouse. Hana tied to that chair. Aiko crying in the corner. The image haunted him like a ghost. He had spent years building power, wealth, influence. He thought it would protect the people he loved. He was wrong. Power couldn't stop a van from taking his daughter. Money couldn't erase the terror in Hana's eyes. All his strength, all his control, none of it mattered when the people he cared about were in danger. The realization broke something inside him. Hana found him 3 days later. It was late. The house was dark. She couldn't sleep, so she wandered the halls, her footsteps soft on the wooden floors. A light glowed under the library door. She pushed it open. Ryuichi sat in a leather chair, a glass of whiskey untouched beside him. His head was in his hands. His shoulders trembled. He was crying. Hana had never seen him cry before. She didn't know he could. "Ryuichi." He looked up. His eyes were red. His face was raw. For once, he didn't try to hide. "I can't stop seeing it," he said. His voice was hoarse. "Every time I close my eyes. You, Aiko, that place." Hana crossed the room and knelt beside his chair. She took his hands in hers. "We're safe now," she said gently. "But you almost weren't. Because of me. Because of who I am." He pulled his hands away and stood, pacing toward the window. "I put you in danger, both of you. I should never have let you stay. You didn't let me. I chose to. And look what happened." His voice echoed through the room. Hana didn't flinch. "Yes," she said calmly. Look what happened. You saved us, you came for us, you fought for us. That's not enough. It is for me. Ryuichi turned. His eyes searched her face, looking for doubt, for fear, for regret. He found none. Why? He asked quietly. Why would you stay, after everything? Hana stood. She walked toward him slowly, closing the distance between them. Because Aiko needs me, she said. Because Yuto is happy here. Because... She paused, took a breath. Because I care about you. More than I expected to. More than I should. Ryuichi stared at her. His walls were crumbling. She could see it in his eyes. The fear, the hope, the desperate need to believe. I don't deserve this, he whispered. Maybe not. Hana reached up and touched his face. Her palm was warm against his cheek. But love isn't about deserving. It's about choosing. And I choose to be here. With you. With Aiko. With this strange, complicated family we've built. Ryuichi closed his eyes. A tear slipped down his cheek. I'm afraid, he admitted. I know. So am I. Hana smiled softly. But we don't have to be afraid alone. For a long moment, neither of them moved. Then Ryuichi pulled her close, his arms wrapped around her, strong and steady. He held her like she was precious, like she was everything. Hana leaned into him. She felt his heartbeat against her chest, fast at first, then slower, calmer. They stood together in the quiet library, holding on to each other, holding on to hope. The next morning, Hana made a decision. She found Ryuichi in the dining room, sitting with Aiko. The little girl was chattering about a dream she'd had, something about flying horses and purple clouds. Ryuichi listened patiently, a small smile on his lips. He smiled more now. Hana had noticed. We need to talk, she said. Ryuichi looked up. His expression was open, waiting. Aiko tugged on his sleeve. Is Hana staying forever, Papa? The question hung in the air. Hana sat down across from them. She looked at Aiko first, then at Ryuichi. I want to stay, she said, but not as a guest, not as someone who needs protection. Ryuichi nodded slowly. What do you want? Equality. Hana's voice was firm. I'm not going to be hidden away or kept safe in a tower. If I stay as your partner, someone who stands beside you, not behind you. Ryuichi considered this. She could see him thinking, weighing, processing. That means knowing things, he said carefully. About my business, about the dangers. I know. It means being part of decisions, not just following orders. That's what I want. And Yuto? He stays too, he's family. Ryuichi was quiet for a long moment. Then he looked at Aiko. What do you think? He asked her. Aiko's face lit up. I think Hana should stay forever and ever. And Yuto too, and we can have pancakes every day. Ryuichi laughed. It was a real laugh, warm and deep. Hana had never heard it before. Maybe not every day, he said. But, yes. He turned back to Hana. I accept your terms. Hana's heart swelled. You do? I do. He reached across the table and took her hand. I've spent too long alone, too long hiding from life. You showed me another way. You and Aiko. His grip tightened. I don't want to go back to the darkness. I want to live in the light with you. Hana blinked back tears, happy tears. Then we're doing this, she said. Together. Together. They told Yuto that afternoon. He was sitting in the garden, reading a book about space exploration. His color was good. His surgery was scheduled for next month. The estate doctor had arranged everything. Hey, Hana said, sitting beside him. We need to talk. Yuto looked up. You're staying. It wasn't a question. Hana smiled. How did you know? You look happy. Yuto shrugged. You haven't looked happy in a long time. Not like this. Hana pulled him into a hug. He didn't resist. Are you okay with it? She asked. Really okay? Are you kidding? Yuto pulled back, grinning. This place is amazing, and Aiko is cool. She taught me how to make paper cranes. She's 7. She's very talented. Hana laughed. The sound felt right, natural, like coming home. The seasons changed. Spring melted into summer. Summer faded into fall. The estate transformed around them. Not in appearance, but in feeling. Warmth replaced coldness. Laughter echoed through the halls. The silence that once felt heavy now felt peaceful. Aiko flourished. She talked constantly now, about everything. Her favorite shows, her favorite foods, her dreams for the future. She started school. A private tutor came 3 times a week. She made a friend, the daughter of one of Kenji's men. She called Hana Mama for the first time on a rainy Tuesday. Hana cried for an hour. Happy tears again. Yuto's surgery was successful. He recovered quickly, surrounded by people who cared. He started talking about college, about becoming a doctor someday. I want to help people, he said. Like everyone here helped me. Hana was so proud her heart could burst. And Ryuichi? Ryuichi changed most of all. The coldness melted. The walls came down. He smiled freely now, laughed easily. He played with Aiko in the garden, chasing her through the flowers, letting her win at hide and seek. He held Hana's hand every chance he got. Small touches, constant connections. One evening, he took her to the garden at sunset. The sky was painted in shades of orange and pink. The air smelled of jasmine. I have something to tell you, he said. Hana's heart skipped. What is it? Ryuichi took her hands in his. His eyes were soft, warm. I love you, he said. I know I should have said it sooner. I know I'm not good with words, but I need you to know. You saved me, Hana. You saved Aiko. You gave us a reason to hope again. Hana's eyes filled with tears. I love you too, she whispered. I think I have for a while. Ryuichi smiled, a real, full smile that reached his eyes. Then he kissed her, soft and gentle, full of promise. Hana kissed him back. Months later, on a warm spring afternoon, Hana stood at the edge of the garden. Aiko ran through the flowers, laughing, her dark hair flying behind her. Yuto chased after her, pretending to be a monster. Mrs. Tanaka watched from the porch, dabbing her eyes with a handkerchief. Ryuichi stepped beside Hana. He slipped his arm around her waist. Look at them, he said softly. Hana leaned into him. I know. This is what I wanted, what I thought I'd never have again. Family, family. He kissed her temple. Thank you. Hana smiled. Thank you for letting me in. They stood together watching their children play. The sun warmed their faces. The breeze carried the scent of flowers. It wasn't a perfect life. There were still dangers, still challenges, still scars that needed healing. But they faced it together, as equals, as partners, as a family. And that made all the difference. In the end, love wasn't weakness. It was the bravest thing any of them had ever done, and it was worth every moment.